So we all get to learn from each other, grow with each other, and have a bigger impact together. And that really felt aligned with just how I want the world to be. I want it to be more collaborative and less scarcity mindset, more there's plenty for everybody. And that's how a summit feels to me.
Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. This is your host, Erin Bradley, and I'm glad you're here with us today. If it's your first time here, welcome aboard. And if you've been listening for a while, we've got a great show in store for you with my new friend, Arynne Crane. And Erin has been in the real estate space since the brilliant year of 2007, just like me. Like geniuses, we went 100% commission right before the market crashed. But she's got an incredible story about her journey through the real estate space and how it's led her to where she is today. And the reason that we connected is because I'm lucky enough to be one of 10 speakers on an event that she's hosting coming up in June of 2026 called the Lead Flow Summit. And she is the founder and designer of what she refers to as the Lead Flow formula. And what she's really passionate about is how most real estate agents don't have a business problem. They have a fit problem. The strategies are everywhere and the grind is real, and yet something still feels off. And so you can imagine, if you've been listening for a long time, why I needed to have Erin on the podcast, because she speaks the same language, that success on paper doesn't always mean fulfillment if you feel disconnected from who you really are. And she just knows this very much from the inside out after nearly 2 decades in real estate and being a top producer. She knows that the awards, the production numbers, and a full pipeline don't automatically create a business that actually feels meaningful and sustainable and built around who you actually are. And so that's kind of the gap that she coaches into. So with no further ado, we're going to jump right in. We're going to hear from Erin and her story, and hopefully we're going to get to unpack what it means to build a business that is purpose-driven and aligned with you so that you can have fun creating success and building the business of you, which in my opinion is the only business worth building. So Erin, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Erin.
I'm so excited to collaborate with you on your summit, but before we get into that and how people can get involved with it, let's talk about a little bit of the background. So bring us up to speed on, talk us through your journey. You dive in 2007, perfect timing like me. And how did the journey look for you, and how has it brought you to where you are today, sharing your passion with the real estate world?
Awesome. Well, I'm actually going to go back a little bit further to the house that I grew up in, because it probably started there. I grew up in a beautiful English Tudor in Colorado, across the street from a golf course, built by the architect for his own family. And I fell in love with home, the idea of home and architecture. And everything kind of spiraled from there. I actually interned at an architectural firm. I worked in property management for many years before moving to Washington, D.C. And then there was this definite disconnect between Denver, where you can just get a job based on your qualifications at the time, back in the late 1990s, early 2000s, to the East Coast, where if you don't have that degree, you don't have a job. So I went into college in my late 20s with the millennials, when we were told that if we spend our money on this college degree, we will then get the job that we had been refused previously. Then I graduated from college in 2007 when the economy completely collapsed, and the only position I could find was serving tables. So I said, well, let's get back to real estate where I can be an entrepreneur, I can build my own business, and that's when I decided to get licensed in the DMV, that's DC, Maryland, Virginia metro area. So I started off there, and I just tried to do what all of the brokers told me to do, work my sphere of influence, but I didn't really have one because I just moved from Colorado to DC. So I tried to figure out, where can I meet more people and follow my interests, right? So I started volunteering. I volunteered to tutor middle schoolers in math, which was really difficult, but it did lead to one of my first transactions. I continued that as a way to build my sphere of influence. I volunteered with in foster care in DC as a mentor for many years. And they would have big community gatherings where other mentors would be there as well. And the thing about Washington, D.C., and I think a lot of the United States, is the conversation naturally, people will ask you, what do you do? So if you're out there in the community doing what you already want to do, that conversation comes up naturally. Of course, you don't want to be generic about it. You don't want to say, oh, I'm a real estate agent, because then you're the same as everyone else. So I definitely have come up with different ways to get attention than that. But just doing what I loved. I took house dance classes and then did that on a consistent basis so that those people that were also taking that class got to see me and know me. And that's really how I built my business at the beginning. Um, during COVID, when I'd already had many years in real estate, I did, my business grew because the reputation was out there and everybody wanted to move. So I built a small team, and I didn't know how to delegate. So I actually ended up like completely burning out. I also had a 2 year old and got pregnant during that whole COVID overwhelm. And I said, well, this is no fun. I'm no longer enjoying, I'm not passionate about home and helping people the way I was before this. So I need to explore, reinvent myself. And I actually like came back and said, well, I just want to work with people that I already know, who I've already worked with, and who refer me. And I focused all my marketing on that. And I focused all of my energy on doing, again, what I wanted to be doing, and not, the expectations of the industry or working harder.
So it's interesting you say that, the expectations of the industry, because as you talked about coming into the business and the mentors and the sales trainers, et cetera, and telling you what to do and how to do it. One of the questions I had for you was, when you think back on the mentors you had in your journey and the way in which we seek the guidance from the guru, if you will, right? The trainer, whoever, the mentor, the manager, and we kind of say, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And we go and we disconnect from who we really are at the core, and we play the part of who we're supposed to be to get the things so that we can finally feel safe in this arena of entrepreneurship. Was there any contrast between any mentors that you had where you can look back now and realize, some were providing frameworks or playbooks that had nothing to do with who you are and you were doing it anyway because it's what you're supposed to do, versus like any mentorship that you had access to that helped you give yourself the permission to be authentic and be aligned and build a business that feels like you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I remember, some of the original trainings was just like pick up the phone, call everybody you know, but they didn't give you a reason to call except for to tell them that you wanted their business, and that didn't feel natural to me at all. So I procrastinated on it and I really didn't do it. I also like went to some seminars where everybody was super high energy, push, do more, just keep building, think bigger. And it was really like hustle, hustle, hustle. And at the time I was like, yeah, like feeling, you're in it. And so you feel the energy and you think you can do it. But the truth of the matter is, uh, it doesn't work as well as if you go, okay, well, this is what I really like doing, and then put yourself in those positions to meet other people with like minds, right? Like people with the same value are easier to work with, than just cold calling. And one of the coaches that I worked with, he had this big team, and I just felt like he was telling me very generic things, and it never worked for me. Like I was getting frustrated with him because I was like, that's working for you, but it's not working for me. I need something else. And he didn't really have anything else to offer. So I really had to like formulate this myself. And I think some of the wisdom I gained, about 10 years ago, I put myself through a coaching program because I was getting frustrated with my buyers and sellers, like dragging their feet and not moving, forward. And I really like possibility, and I really, part of the reason I like real estate is like watching people take on this big, scary change in their life and helping them move through it. But I'm such an action taker that when they weren't taking action, they were delaying, they were procrastinating, they didn't know what they wanted. It was really frustrating. And so putting myself through a coaching program and learning the framework of how to use the internal motivations that people have and remind them of that as you're going through the transaction, that definitely helped to improve my business. So a lot of what I found outside of the industry, and I'm bringing it into the industry, and I feel like hopefully will change a lot of people's ways of doing business so that they will have a business they like to participate in.
Yeah, I mean, it's so huge. I meet people all the time that have been quote unquote successful from an external lens of closing lots of transactions, taking great care of people. They are loving human beings, but they're extremely overwhelmed, and they are still operating on an outdated program of what they think they should or have to do in order to sustain, to keep this ship afloat that is the business that they built. But it's like, in some capacity, we're taking advice from so many people that aren't really who we are. They're not helping us figure out who we are. They're just telling us what to do. And it's
And what
like,
to chase. I think also like they're chasing, and that's something that I want to flip the ideology around as well. They're like, go get this person, try this tactic, go over here and chase, chase, chase. And I actually feel like my energy, that's really off putting to be chased. I mean, in dating and in any relationship, right? And so being really genuine to who you are, I think draws people to you, and the people it draws actually ends up fitting who you want to serve better anyway.
so how did you, I guess, build the confidence to break the mold? Because I thought of something recently when I heard this quote that it was Alan Watts, and he said, what if the anxiety that you call motivation is just fear with really good PR? And it struck me because when you think about as you're coming up in this business and you're seeking the guidance, it's almost like there's a drip down from other human beings who build their frameworks out of their own fear and insecurity and chasing and striving. And it drips down to the next person, drips down to the next person. So to have the boldness to say, you know what, I think I'm going to see what feels good to me instead of outsourcing my confidence to what others people tell me I should do, right? Like, how did you develop the boldness to say, like, you know what, I think I'm going to do it my way and see how this works out, and then it gets better and better?
Some of it is when you are training to be a coach, you're also like getting coached. You're getting really clear in the process yourself. Like, what do I want my life to look like? And if I was standing in that life now, what would be different? What would change? Who else would be impacted by that? And so having that framework, I think, definitely changes how I moved forward from there. But I also think that necessity was some of it because I completely burnt out being working too hard, not delegating well, having a small child and another one like that burnout. And I was just like, the necessity says that I can't continue down this path. I need to pull back for my own health and well-being. Um, and then reinvent, right? Figure out what it is that get clear again, right? Like that. So I think sometimes we just have to keep reinventing too, because I got really clear a decade ago, but then things changed in my life, like having children, and that made it so that what I was doing then maybe didn't fit into who I am now. And so I think we need to consistently reinvent and And I think with that comes a lot of mindset and like growth in ourselves. So that's where like the confidence is. That one's really, really difficult for a lot of people, myself included. The experience doesn't necessarily mean confidence. I think I think it takes a lot of like, okay, is what I believe about myself actually true? Can I prove that, or am I not seeing the whole picture? Really, just doing a lot of self-discovery work constantly, always trying to grow and become um, better and more in tune with myself.
So, with all the hats that you're wearing with motherhood and real estate and coaching, what inspired you to create this Lead Flow Summit that is coming up? And, what can people expect from that? So, like, talk us through how it kind of came to be in the ideation phase of what you envisioned bringing to the marketplace. And then, yeah, what can people expect from being a part of it?
Certainly. Well, it's a big change for me. What I realized is that my 4 and 7 year old don't get to predict what they're going to be doing on the weekends because, as a real estate agent, I can't predict what I am doing on the weekends. And after almost 2 decades of working every weekend, or at least thinking that maybe I will have to work this weekend, I thought, you know what, I'm really ready to change this so that I can enjoy this time with these two amazing human beings that I get to raise. So I said, well, what can I do with what I already have that will put me in a position where I can plan weekends without work? And with the coaching certificate already in place and an experience coaching in 2016 and 17, I coached agents. I started building out the lead flow formula, and I implemented it on just a few people at my office to see if it really was something that people were interested in. And they were like, this is brilliant, I want this. And they worked through the program, they were very happy with the results. And I said, okay, how can I get this in front of more people so that more people can feel enjoyment in their businesses? And I attend virtual summits all the time. Like, I love learning, I love growing, I love taking what other people know and figuring out how to implement it in what I'm doing. And so somehow I ran into a coach who said, if you want to do a summit, it's a great way to market your own business, but it has this collaboration to it that also is really beautiful because it builds community. And I've always been drawn to that community building and connecting and collaborating. And so it felt like the right place to kind of build my own database so that I can get people to, hopefully help people align their businesses through my formula, but also help other coaches and speakers and, real estate team leaders to that have a similar idea of this, to build their businesses. So we all get to learn from each other, grow with each other, and have a bigger impact together. And that really felt aligned with just how I want the world to be. I want it to be more collaborative and less scarcity mindset, more there's plenty for everybody, and that's how a summit feels to me. So it was a little scary, right? I've never done it before, but I had the coach who's done it 100 times to guide me through it. And as I moved forward through figuring it out and coming up with the title and the tag and then finding the speakers, I just am getting more and more excited because the people that are drawn to it, they're just, I mean, some of these speakers that we're going to have on here, um, they're just going to bring so much to all of our lives. So I just keep getting more and more excited for it. And I do plan on making it like a summit that continues to bring more people into the community, and like every other month, probably having a similar summit.
Awesome. So what can folks expect from the summit and the speakers that you've compiled? I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm curious about who else will be contributing and, what are some of the takeaways that people can expect from it?
And so there's people from all different pieces of the formula, I guess. There's people that will speak to the alignment portion of it. People like yourself are going to speak to what does freedom actually look like and how can we build that into our businesses. I've got people on the organization side or the implementation of systems side. So there's some people who are more focused on how do we get these systems in place so that we can walk away from our business, but it's still working. I actually have okay. She used to be a hostage negotiator and SUV detective turned real estate agent who's going to teach us about how our clients might feel like this is her language, they're in crisis because it's a really big change. So, how do we listen better, understand better, and use the negotiation tactics and strategies that she learned as a hostage negotiator, both with our clients and with the other side of the transaction? There's somebody who is all about getting in front of your clients through video, but your sphere of influence mostly, like not trying to be perfect and look perfect online, but be yourself because that's how you found the people that you're in front of anyway. So you might as well just go on there, be yourself. And he helps to systemize that so you feel really comfortable. And he does some mindset work around that. People who have figured out how to have different income streams so that they aren't stuck in one thing. It's a wide range of different speakers, bringing lots of. They went through different paths to get to where they are, and they're going to bring all of their experience to us.
Well, I love it. And I'm excited about it too, because I agree. I think collaboration is where the magic happens. And, everything that I ever did that felt aligned was about spotlighting others that can bring value to my audience, whether that was as a mortgage lender or now as a speaker coach. It's like I'm obsessed with finding people like you that sort of speak the same language. And maybe it's like we have the same song, but on two different radio stations, there's a different signal, and one has a more clear signal. And, it could be the same song, like I said, but it's so fun and powerful to connect with others who understand. Authenticity has become such a buzzword to the point of being cliche. But the truth of the matter is, none of us want to play a part. Like, none of us want to pretend to be someone we're not in order to get what we think we need so that we can feel how we want to feel. Like, we want to feel good in our own skin and show up through that lens and magnetize people that like us for who we are, not who we think we're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about the event if people want to sign up for it? Like, when is it? What does it consist of? When does it start? All the things.
Perfect. It is a live virtual event that will be hosted on Zoom. It'll be on Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Since there are 10 speakers with approximately 30 minutes each, that should take us to about 4 p.m. So from 11 to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then there are options to upgrade to a VIP, where after the live summit, you'll be able to bring your real questions to a panel that includes me and some of the speakers. And everybody who is speaking is going to offer some great freebies, things that you can download and implement right away. So show up, be ready to take notes and learn. Um, and yeah, Erin will be sending an email with the registration link, and she'll probably tag it below as well.
Yes, definitely. So the links will be in the show notes below. And I think I'm signed up for the 11 a.m. Eastern time. So 9 a.m. Mountain, 11 a.m. Eastern. And I'm excited to contribute, but I'm also excited to participate and learn from the others, because even just having a podcast and getting to have conversations with people like you, I feel like I'm always learning and I'm always hearing little nuggets of information and wisdom that are said maybe a different way than I've heard it before. And that's what makes it land, is like, maybe you've heard this a million times, but like for some reason, when you heard it this time, it was like the turning point, the point of no return, where you're like, I can't unhear that. I can't unknow that, you know? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. And I'm grateful that you took the time to share with us today. So thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, I really appreciate you having me and helping me to promote this wonderful summit and collaborate. It's just so great to find people again with that same underbelly, that same vision for what we can bring it to the world and to each other. And I think a lot of it, like I said before, it's the abundance mindset. And and I think that you have the abundance mindset, and so do I, and that's going to bring a lot to everyone.
100%. And how else can listeners find you or follow you if they just want to connect, if they want to pick your brain, ask questions, learn more, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, my name is very unique. So honestly, just learning the spelling, Arynne, and I'm almost the only one. But erincrane.com is my general website. I am building out the lead flow formula, but it is not existing yet online. It exists as a program that is not online yet, but that is right after the summit. That's when I get that up. And I'm on Instagram, living in DC with Erin, Facebook, I think it's Erin Crane. So as long as you type in my name and spell it right, you'll find me.
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Erin. I appreciate you as well.
And to all the listeners out there, if you are inspired by what you learned here or you're excited about the summit, and I hope to see you there, make sure to share this episode with someone else who can find value from it. If you haven't yet left a 5-star review, that would really help us, because it helps us continue to attract amazing guests like Erin and help this content get found so more people can build a life you don't need a vacation from. I love you. I appreciate you. We will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in to Pursuing Freedom. If this conversation sparks something with you, be sure you're subscribed so you can keep building momentum towards your life of freedom. And don't keep this to yourself. If you know someone who's on the same journey, be sure to share it with them. And I'll see you next time.